We've got 4 minutes. Okay, FYI, we are now you and your privacy. We've got 3 minutes, but we do have a hot mic. Okay, before we get started, as we say in Judaism, the gates of repentance are always open, except for those who have these on during services. So silence if you would. Thank you. Okay, we are live. We are on the air. Thank you all for coming tonight to Ma'ariv. Parshat Tzav. Parshat Tzav is special to me for one reason and one reason only. Make that 2. The first is my son, their dad. That was his parsha. So there's a certain amount of poetic elegance here about having his 2 wee Björn, 2 of his 3 wee Björn on the bima with me tonight. When Michael was coming up on his bar mitzvah, he says, "Dad, what am I going to do with this parsha?" And I said, "You'll find something." And quite frankly, I forgot what it was, but somehow as I was preparing a Devar Torah for tonight, I stumbled on the same thing as it happens to turn out. Kind of scary, isn't it? It's been quite a week. Tumult, violence, ups and downs in the world. Shabbat is meant to be an equalizer. It's meant to put your feet on the ground and keep you there. If you've had an absolutely rotten week, it's meant to pull you up. If you've had an absolutely exhilarating week, it's meant to kind of pull you down to earth and get you grounded. A little joy, a little oy. Our opening song tonight will be on page 10. Yedid Nefesh in the middle of the page. Yedid Nefesh of Rachman, Yedid Nefesh of Rachman, Mishok Avdecha, El Retzonecha, Yarutz Avdecha, Kemoayal, Yishtachavei El Muhadarecha. Yehuda, if you would please come up on page 9.
We offer thanks, O God, for the Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God.
Okay, Lillian will light the Shabbat candles. Say the bracha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Page 12, Psalm 95.
There we go. Lechuneranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuneranena, 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 ladonai. Naria, naria, litzuri, sheinu nekad lefaketona. Naria, naria, litzuri, sheinu Lechuneranena, 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 ladonai. Lechuneranena, lechuneranena, lechuneranena,
ladonai. We continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMalachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Please rise for the Hatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkadav, Yitkadav Shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivorach cherutei, ve'amlich malchutei, b'chai echon u'b'yom echon, u'chai hedachol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman hariv, v'maru, amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'amaya, Yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitbahar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei dekudesha barichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'maru,
Amen. Please remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 28.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We'll continue with the Ma'ariv Aravim together on page 30. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim V'chochma Poteach Sha'arim Uvidfuna Mishenei Itim Umachalif et Chazmanaim Umisader et HaKochavim, V'mishmerotechem barkia kirtzono, Borei yom v'layla, Golel or mipnei choshech, V'hoshech mitnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi layla, Uma'avdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam tamid yemloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. You don't have to know a word of Hebrew to get the sense of this. Flowing, moving, never stopping. Day into night, night into day. Lillian, would you please come to the bima and read in the middle of page 30.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from another. Adonai Tzvaot is the name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 32, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Haveta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu lemadeta, Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachreinu uvkumeinu, Nasiach bechukecha, V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha, Uvmitzvotecha leolam va'ed, Ki hem chayenu v'yorek yameinu, Uvachem negei yomam v'layla. v'yavtacha al tasir mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Yehuda?
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You mean Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Please rise for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod
Malachuto leolam vaed. Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uv'lechtecha v'derech, uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
Okay, a shiny new nickel for anybody who can tell me, why is this Shabbat special? Okay, command voice time, Walter. Okay, a shiny nickel for anybody who can tell me, why is this Shabbat special? Manishtana, come on. Which makes it is Shabbat Hagadol. Shabbat Hagadol. Does everybody have one of these? Okay. Yehuda, if you'd be so kind as to run out to right where the Siddurim are and get the stack of these things and pass them out. Okay, while Hoods is doing that, I'll explain what I've got in mind here. In our liturgy, as well as conservative and Orthodox liturgy, on Shachrit, on Shabbat morning of Shabbat Hagadol, they do some references, they do some extra psalms, songs of praise, and things like that. And they also read a little bit from the Haggadah. So since this is our main service this week, I decided to put it in there. And think about where we've inserted this in the service. We're doing this talking about leaving Egypt, and of course, what we have following that immediately is the Mi Chamocha. Thank you, Yehuda. It is alleged that the boy has a few skills. This is okay. Okay, so with the sheet in front of us here. Avadim hayinu lefaro b'Mitzrayim, v'yotzienu Adonai Eloheinu mishem bayod hazakah uvezaroa netuya. Together in English. We were slaves to Pharaoh in the land of Egypt, and the Lord our God took our there with a strong hand and an outstretched arm. And if the Holy One, blessed be he, had not taken our ancestors from Egypt, behold, we and our children and our children's children would all be enslaved to Pharaoh in Egypt. And even if we were all sages, all discerning, all elders, all knowledgeable about the Torah, it would be a commandment upon us to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt. And anyone who adds and spends extra time in telling the story of Exodus, praiseworthy. Lillian. Top of page 39.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we will still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Okay. Mitzrayim. What comes to mind when you hear that? Egypt, okay. Mitzrayim. Tsur,
Strength.
rock, strength. Tsuris, because you're between two rocks. Hold that thought. Mikamoka.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot osei feleh Nora tehilot osei feleh.
Top of page 42. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim, u'faros aleinu sukat shlemecha, u'taknenu be'etza tova milfanecha. Yehuda?
Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, O our guardian, to life renewed. Spread us over the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life, to peace, evermore. Oh, is there more? Oh, yeah.
Where were you? Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We continue on page 44.
Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Mekadeshei Mekadeshei Shevi Shabbat Kulam Yisbu V'yitangu Mitvecha Shabbat Yismechu V'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Uvashvi'i ratzita bo רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, חמדת ימים, אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת, זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, וקוראי עונג שבת.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day.
On Shabbat, the battles of day-to-day life kind of go away, or at least we want them to. It's an armistice, it's a truth. It's a truce, is also the truth. Please rise for tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu v'yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips,
that my
mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Lifnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah v'Hoshia. Mashiv ha'ruach u'morid ha'gashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech mimit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, Kadoshim b'chol yom yahalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please remain standing for the Amida or sitting as is your custom, and we continue silently. We'll continue with the Retzeh on page 57.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ahava tikabel U'tehi leratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha Il karov lecha karav b'nei avadecha lechanenu Shefoch ruchacha aleinu V'techezena einenu B'shuvecha l'Tzion ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון לציון
Page 58. Modim anachnu lach sha'atu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'immunotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu magen yishenu atahu lador vador. O God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life. Wonder beyond words for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Melech Adon Lecho Shalom Ki Ata Melech Adon Lecho Shalom Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך tasim leolam.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes, strength and bonds of friendship and fellowship among all inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow out every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo
Yisrael, Shalom. Osei shalom bimromav,
Hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, v'imru,
amen.
Yaseh shalom,
Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
v'imru, amen. Let us turn to page 253. God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Leah, and Rachel, send your blessing to the following friends and family members who are in need of healing and comfort: Steve Toddleben, Jay Kaler, Sandra French, Diane Levy, Diane Kaler, John Myers, Martha Snyder, Lori Samuels, Sydney Scramenti, Brooke Gelman, Gerald Hoffman, Eric Whitmershouse, Patrick Callahan, Sidney Kruzik, Royce Haas, Lyle Jackson. And as I look around the kahila and my eyes meet yours, if you had someone you wish to add to the healing list, please say the name. For those of you that are on YouTube and Zoom, please put that in your chat box. We'll continue with the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov.
Mishaberach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, ve'Rachel.
May the one who blessed our mothers,
May the one who blessed our
fathers,
hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer.
Hear our prayer,
Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Mishaberach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov. Mishaberach Imotenu, Sararif kalea virachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer,
Hear our prayer,
hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Well, last week I promised a little bit of Torah theater. You heard what I said already about this parsha. It's Sav. Okay. Other than the fact that my son had a hard time putting together, yes. Not loud enough? No. All right, so take that. See if I care. Other than the fact that my son, their father, had a hard time coming up with a Devar Torah on this, it seems as if he and I landed on the same thing. But Sav means command, right? God instructs Moses to command Aaron and his sons regarding their duties and rights as Kohanim who offer the korbanot, sacrifices, animal and meal, in the sanctuary. The fire on the Mizbeach, the altar, must be kept burning at all times. Boy, it sounds like a 24/7, 365 job, doesn't it? In it all the sacrifices burned, the holy consumed ascending offering, the olah, the veins of fat from peace, sin, and guilt offerings, and the handful separated from the meal offering, which is thrown onto the fire. The Kohanim eat the meat of the sin and the guilt offerings and the remainder of the meal offering. The peace offering is eaten by the one who brought it, except for the specified portions given to the Kohen. The holy meat of the offerings must be eaten by ritually pure persons in their designated holy place within their specified time. And then, of course, part of this is Aaron and his sons remain in the sanctuary compound for 7 days, during which Moses initiates them into the priesthood. So while I read a little bit of Torah here, our actors, these are actors that were brought in from Cleveland. Okay? We can do this. So, get ready. So, for the Torah portion, I'm just going to do a few verses here to kind of set the scene, set it all up. V'yakerev Moshe et Aharon ve'et benav v'yarchatz otam b'mayim. Then Moses brought Aaron and his sons forward and splashed them with water. There you go. Vayiten alav et hakutenet v'yachadgor oto ba'avonet v'yalevesh oto. Et ha'ma'il vayiten alav et ha'ephod v'ya'ahogor oto v'yachoshev ha'ephod v'yafod lo ba. He put the tunic on him, girded him with the sash, clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod on him, girdling him with the decorated band which he tied to him. Vayisam alav et ha'choshen, v'yaten et ha'choshen et ha'urim ve'et ha'tumim. He put the breastplate on him and put into the breastpiece the Urim and Tumim. And then, of course, Vayikerev Moshe et b'nei Aharon v'yalevesh kutanot v'yahagor oto avnet v'yahavosh lechem megavaot ka'asher tzeva Adonai et Moshe. Moses then brought Aaron's sons forward, clothed them in tunics, girded them with sashes, and wound turbans upon them, as Adonai has commanded. So before we have a little bit of theater, what are the parts of Aaron's priestly uniform? The tunic, the sash, the robe. Hey, pretty self-explanatory so far, right? But now it gets complicated. The ephod, a type of apron worn by the Kohen Gadol. Now, this isn't a kitchen apron when you think of, the holy barbecue and all that. This is something better. worn by the Kohen Gadol, which is worn under the breastplate, the Choshen, which you heard me mention before, which in turn contain the Urim and Thummim. Urim, Uri, okay, lights. And Thummim, which translated kind of means perfections. There's little agreement as to what these things were historically because it's obscure, it's lost in the mists of history. However, the rabbinic literature mentions that these objects were meant to give an answer, so they were kind of magical. The Talmudic rabbis, however, argue that the jewels themselves moved in a way that made them stand out from the rest or moved themselves in groups to form words. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Getting spooky, isn't it? So rabbinic tradition says that these things had some kind of mystical power. And of course, to complete the outfit, the headdress and the gold frontlet, that's self-explanatory. So in verse 13, Moses then brought the sons of Aaron forward and clothed them in tunics, dressed them in sashes, and wound turbans upon them. They had some of the priestly uniform, but not all of it. Perhaps the uniform of the initiate, a junior achiever Cohen. Okay. You guys have your microphones on? Now for a little bit of... Yeah. You got everything? Okay. There are three people here. There's the narrator, that's me. There's Elisheba. Lillian gets to do that. So who's Elisheba? No, he's not a stockbroker, okay? Elisheba is Aaron's wife. Okay, and then, of course, there's the younger son of Aaron. So who do you get stuck with that one? So let's consider a conversation between Elisheba, the wife of Aaron, to one of her younger sons as he prepares for initiation into the priesthood.
It's time to get dressed already. You don't want to be late for your initiation into the priesthood. Get a move on. Your uncle Moishi will be angry with you if you are late. You know what he is like when he gets angry. He gets really out of sorts, and taking 2 tablets will not help him. You don't want to make him that way, do you?
Why are you and Dad making this into such a production? What do you think this is? A bar mitzvah?
No, it isn't a bar mitzvah. It's something far more important than that. You're going to become a Kohen. All right, already. It's time to put on your white tunic.
But Mom... But Mom, I don't want to get dressed up in a white tunic. I want to look like all the other kids and wear things that look like potato sacks and smell like a goat. This fancy schmancy tunic that doesn't stink to high heaven just isn't me.
So what's wrong with this beautiful and ornate sash around your waist? It makes you look so dashing and handsome.
Sashes, rashes. Sashes are worn by most Egyptians. A sash gives me a rash. Mom, we left Mitzrayim on purpose because we were different than the Egyptians. Do you want me to still look like an Egyptian? Do you want me to walk like one too? Such a shanda.
But what's not to like about this really spiffy turban on your head?
Wearing a turban makes my head itch and gives headlights a wonderful place to live. No, thank you very much.
What a lousy excuse. Being a Kohen is our family business. Why can't you be a Kohen just like your father and your oldest brother, Eliezer?
But I don't want to be a Kohen. I want to be a doctor. I've been sitting here for 4 days, and I want to be a regular kid and play kick the crock, hang out and eat dates with my friends, and play pin the tail on the pharaoh.
One day later,
Mom, I just found out that my friend David has a paper cut and that he has asked me to provide first aid. Mentioning this in my medical school application will be helpful.
You know, that is a really lame excuse.
one more day later,
Mom, my turban is getting really gross and I need a fresh tunic. It is really smelling nasty and I can't do this any longer. This is even worse than wearing potato sacks that smell like goats.
No son of mine is going to smell. I will wash them both tonight. You should wash yourself too.
another day later,
But Mom, I don't want to go to the final ceremony tonight.
My son, it is an important thing for not just your family, but for the Jewish people as well. It's not all about you.
after the 7 days of initiation,
Holy Moses, becoming a Kohen seems so cool. Well, I might not love everything about it, like being stuck in a place with my dad and my brothers for 7 days, sometimes I need to do things for the good of the Jewish people. Besides, there's nothing in the Torah that says I can't be a doctor as well as a Kohen. Imagine that, your son also a doctor. Dr. Cohen? Cohen? Dr. Cohen?
Indeed. So how many Dr. Cohens do you know? I know quite a few. Thank you for the not quite ready for prime time players. Saturday Night Live, eat your hearts out. So anyway, the moral of the story is, as my dad, as I always finish my Devar Torahs, my good Catholic dad, their deceased grandfather, or great-grandfather would say, so why should I care? I respond to my dad, Alav HaShalom, and say, Dad, sometimes we need to look beyond our own wishes and desires and think about how to support the community during times of good as well as in times of trouble. This is a very appropriate thought for us as a community as we look at the world around us, as we look at our own shul and our fellow congregants, and as well as we prepare for Pesach. I'll have you know that they wrote most of that. Okay, please rise for the Aleinu on page 282.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, hateit gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמו ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Malkeinu Efezuloto, Kakatu B'Torato, Ve'adatayom, Ve'hashevota Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim, B'Shamayim Imao, Ve'aretz mitoch hatenod V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Ushemo echad.
Please be seated. Page 289. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. I have some sad news to announce tonight. In Cuba, we lost Bruce Whitmer's house. He passed away suddenly yesterday. Rabbi is, of course, with the whole tour group in Cuba, and he's taken charge of the situation. As you know, we have no diplomatic relations formally with Cuba, so the actual release of the body to come to the United States is not an easy proposition. So you will see more bulletins coming out about this. In the meantime, please pray, please support Janice and the family as they go through this very, very, very tough and certainly unexpected event. Tonight, we are in Shloshim, first 30 days after interment, for Jack Wright, father of Jessica Maldet and grandfather of Trenton, Mariah, and Naomi. We're also in Shloshim for Chaim Topol, as the good book says, and Gail Goodman, aunt of Jessica Thorpe. Are there any others to add to the Shloshim list? This Shabbat, we commemorate the yard sites for William Penn, Fred Hess, Rosalie Brandeis Frank, Arthur Harf, Janet Lyons-Levy, Isaac Mayer Wise, Milton Stone, Mitchell Burdick, Babette Westheimer, Joseph J. Seymour Rudolph, Elaine Cohen Castleman, Jeffrey Kaler, Pearl Gluck, Jacob Hayes Bissinger, Todd Sherman, Sophia Hanauer, Annie Immerman, Yetta Aron, Sam Cohn, Scott Landy Randall, Lizzie May, Solomon Loeb, Benjamin Spector, Anna Radoff, Marion Sales, Nathan Sillen. Are there any other names to add to the art site list for tonight? We continue with the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, on page 294. Please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malachutei, v'chayikon v'yomechon v'chayit b'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei b'kusha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata dam iran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba ben shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom.
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zikrona levracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. Craig, do you have announcements tonight?
Thank you to Jesse, Dennis, and the Vidmar Ensemble tonight. Very nice. Services are in memory of Martin Gabriel and Jeffrey L. Kaler. Tomorrow we have services at 10 o'clock and Torah study at 11, but it will be Zoom only. No in-person services tomorrow, Zoom only. Let's see here. We are collecting donations for Ben Koberski's Bar Mitzvah project. If you've seen the tubs out there in the lobby, they are donations that they're taking for local animal shelters. There are, as said, there's bins out there. You can bring stuff in. And please see the email that you've been receiving about what they are looking for, or call the office and see if something you have in mind might be usable. And then last item, letting you know that we are updating our COVID policy. And let me give you the specifics. As of April 1st, that is tomorrow, we will no longer require proof of vaccination or masking. However, we strongly encourage all congregants and guests attending indoor and outdoor services and events to be up to date with the bivalent COVID booster vaccination. These boosters have been shown to protect individuals from COVID and even the most current strains of the virus. Anyone who is symptomatically ill with any illness, please, and specifically any respiratory symptoms, should not attend any services or events. Anyone who wishes to reduce the risk of getting COVID or any other respiratory infection is welcome to wear a high-quality mask during services and events at Temple. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
I have an update from last week about the second Omicron booster. The American FDA and CDC are creeping towards this at a snail's pace, but they are making that progress. So I'm expecting to see a policy out in about maybe 3 or 4 weeks. So it does make a difference. As you know, I work with these patients every day when I'm at work. It keeps people out of the hospital. It may not stop you from getting ill, but it'll keep you out of the hospital, out of the ICU, and out of the morgue. So ends my public service announcement. We'll finish with the Don Alum on page 321.
Correct.
Okay.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leid nasa b'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'aharei kichlot hakol le'yado yimloch nora Vehu hayam, vehu hoveh, vehu yeh betifara, vehu echad ve'ein sheni, v'hamshil lo lehachbira, v'li reshit, v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamizrach, vehu eli goali, v'tzur chevli v'yetzara, v'chu nisi umanos li, menat kosi b'yom ekra, v'yado avkid ruchi, v'yet isha v'yayira, v'yiruchi gaviyati, Adonai v'lo ira. Page 4. Vaychalu hashemayim v'aretz v'chol tzva'am v'chol Elohim b'yom hashvi melachto asher asa v'yishmot b'yom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa v'yavarek Elohim et yom hashvi v'kadesh oto ki bo shavat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim ma'asor Baruch atah Adonai borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho me'ava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letzion mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim b'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat
as Jackie Gleason used to say, yes, how sweet it is. Go ahead, do Muncie for us, please.
Amen. Motzi lachem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Take some challah. Enjoy.